Yo, what's poppin'? It's your girl Z, aka Zalia. Welcome back to my podcast, Wonders of the Human Experience. We got episode 10, y'all. 10! Holy cow! Like, 10 episodes. Let's motherfucking go. This will be about understanding the importance of sovereignty. Now, I did host a Discord class about this. So I'm going to input the audio from that class and just show you the PowerPoint that I created that I was also showing during the class. So you guys can just follow along that way. But I will mention when the audio first starts, it didn't catch when I asked, the people that was, on the live event. I had asked them, what does it mean to be sovereign? Like, when you hear the word sovereignty, what do you envision? Like, how does it make you feel? So it kind of skipped that part. I didn't catch that part. So I'm going to ask you guys that now. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on right on in this, okay? Let's get it.
But Craig, I'm going to go ahead and continue though. But it's literally honoring and embracing your individual soul, like your individuality as a soul, as a divine being, right? Now, I want to also kind of talk about, like, how does this benefit you? Like, what exactly, are you gaining from being in this leadership energy? You know what I'm saying? I have like this thing that I like to call the arts of self. And as you see listed on here, you can kind of see like what exactly it's connected to within like your chakras. So like acceptance, right? That's definitely, and I also will say each of these points can kind of connect to multiple chakras, but I didn't want to do all that. So I just put like the main ones, right? So for acceptance, we got the third eye. For detachment, we got the root. For the soul awareness, we got the crown. Forgiveness, we got sacral. Self-love, obviously, we got the heart. Unwavering faith, we got solar plexus. And then that mind-body resilience is your throat chakra, okay? So let's continue. This next one, we're going to be talking about the shadows of these arts of self. So obviously, a lot of us kind of deal with the duality of, life, because that's kind of like how you understand it better in a way. So for acceptance, the shadows of that is we typically will deny the truth, right? We will literally go on our minds and say, that's not really happening. Like, we will literally create these illusions and paint this image, this picture of what we want it to be, instead of actually accepting the truth of what it actually is, right? Next, we have detachment. So this can look like, you kind of holding on to something that's not really there. And I kind of want to like, this low-key ties into your level of acceptance as well. But ultimately, it's you refusing like to change. Like, y'all know how people be saying all the time, well, I'm just like that, or I don't want to change, or, I don't like change, or stuff, stuff like that, right? People will literally hold on to whether it's an environment, whether it's a substance, whether it's actual relationships that literally don't serve them, right? And honestly, for me personally, this kind of has a lot to do with not only acceptance, but self-love, because a lot of times when people can't necessarily let go of things that don't serve them, it's because they're like low-key trying to fill a void that can only be fulfilled through them. But let's move on to soul awareness. This one is essentially you like when I say internalizing the human experience, I'm speaking on like the ego, right? So like not only are you creating attachments, but you're like consuming these things. Like you're literally consuming it to the point where you think it's all of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we've all definitely had that level of what like creating those attachments and trying to hold on to things. You see how all of these things are very parallel to each other? That's going to be another big thing too. You're going to see how each of these key points is like also very parallel to like all of them really for real. But let's move on to forgiveness. We have repeating cycles and negative self-talk or criticism. Now, when it comes to forgiveness, a lot of times people like think that you have to forgive somebody else when in actual reality, forgiveness is about you forgiving yourself for putting yourself through in situations that you were in way too long. So you see how this is also like once again like this kind of like in parallel with your level of detachment. When you realize you were in something a little too long than what you should have, or you was doing things a little too long than what you should have, and you know what I'm saying, we can like kind of like really beat ourselves up for it, like like real bad. Like we really sit up there and like criticize ourselves so much over the little things, over the big things. It don't matter, right? And what happens is we quite literally put ourselves in this loop where because we aren't holding ourselves with grace, with compassion, and with the level of forgiving yourself, because what you know now you didn't know then, it kind of like, how can I say this? Like it kind of prevents you from like opening your mind, like opening your crown to in a way where you're like accepting yourself. Like like you accept the fact that okay, I may have some flaws, right? But everybody kind of has a little bit of flaws. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't perfect, right? And everybody ain't all truly flawed. You know what I'm saying? So like forgiveness is ultimately about you having that level of compassion for yourself because you are learning. You don't know everything. Respectfully, I don't know everything and I will never claim to know everything. You know what I'm saying? So like really truly like be so graceful with yourself when you do shadow work because you didn't know, you didn't have the awareness, right? So let's move on to the next one. So we have self-love next. Self-love is so huge, so imperative for us because we have constantly like been raised to literally put everybody else's needs before ours, right? And what that does is it creates this avoidance within us. And it also creates this imbalance where we're constantly seeking validation from everybody else. And what happens is we literally open ourselves up to being taken advantage of, right? You literally open yourself up to also thinking that when you're filling these voids that you're receiving some sort of instant gratification. Like it ain't really something that your soul wants, but it's satisfying your ego. You know what I'm saying? And also like when you're in that energy of like chasing or like being desperate, that also creates like this avoidance too, because you got to ask yourself, why are you desperate for something? And I'll even put myself on the spot. Like I remember like last year, I was so desperate to like have certain friendships, like genuine, like soulful friendships, right? And what was happening to me, I was literally attracting people that was also in that energy of being desperate, yo. And like these people would steal my energy. Like they would never pour into me for real. Like they would never be there for me, but I was always being there for them. And it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I have to ask myself, why am I desperate for anything? Like, why am I chasing something? Like, really get to the root issue of that. And I realized I wasn't truly loving myself in a way of like where it was reflecting in my relationships. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to unwavering faith, this one is so tricky because I'm not gonna hold y'all. They literally play on us when we don't believe in ourselves. Like they literally count on us not believing in ourselves. And like to me, having unwavering faith, like the shadows of it, is like when we get to listening to people that's in their ego. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong with listening to people, but make sure the people that you're listening to, it's coming from a source that it's not fragmented. Like it's rooted in authenticity, unconditional love. It's rooted in that knowing. You know what I'm saying? But like what happens is we be caring too much about the wrong stuff sometimes. I'm not gonna hold you. We be caring about the people that's operating from their ego because once again, we be seeking validation from them. And what happens is we literally allow them to literally persuade us. So you could be doing something you truly love and you go and you tell somebody that's operating from their ego and they gonna tell you like, well, that's not something I think you should be doing. I think you should be doing that instead. Like they gonna literally say some stuff like that, bro. I kid you not. Y'all probably already know what I'm talking about. But what happens is you literally dim your light. You dim your light. You make yourself small. You literally settle. You settle. You literally settle. And to me, like when I feel like whenever I can tell that I'm settling for something, it's like this energy of like I'm just so sad. Like I just literally it feels like my light is so small. And it don't feel right. It literally in my spirit, in my soul, it doesn't feel right. And I literally can't stand it anymore. So I stopped doing it. I'm gonna be real. Like this is why like I am so like okay, regardless of how people, perceive you, like a lot of people find me very intimidating. And that used to scare me low key. That used to make me feel like, okay, if they feel as if I'm so intimidating, then maybe I should change. Maybe I shouldn't be doing too much. And then I realized that was hurting me more than anything. So I was like, you know what? Let me cut that out. I'm sick and tired of being small. I'm sick and tired of people being so intimidated that I have to make myself a certain way to where they can receive me. And it's like, man, if you can't receive me now, then you know what? Screw it. Like, you know what? Maybe you just not for me. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to the next one. This one is mind, body, and resilience. Now, the reason why I said this one is like definitely regarding your throat chakra is because to be resilient is to literally not give up. It's to literally stand up, stand back up. Like even though somebody is spewing, insults or their insecurities, their limitations onto you, it doesn't mean that you have to carry that with you on your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? So being resilient is a matter of like you being able to really stand up for yourself, right? I feel like we also have those moments where we all can look back and be like, yeah, I could have expressed myself a little bit better, a little bit differently. Like I know for a fact I've had those moments, especially when I was around a lot of people that was operating from their ego. Now, what happens is the shadows when it comes to this is you are like literally lacking the ability to embody who you truly are. And see, this kind of like is very parallel to that unwavering faith because when you're strong and you're knowing, you will naturally embody your authentic self. And you don't necessarily open up the room for somebody to come in and tell you that you can't be who you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you don't embody that authentic self, when you're not really firm in that truth, it literally prevents you from allowing you to take up space for real. Like, and that's what I mean, like dimming your light, making yourself small. Like, you are not here to do that. You're not here to do that. You're here to take up space, especially if you're here right now in this class. Like, you're here to take up space and you shouldn't feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't feel like, well, that person isn't taking up space. They're limiting themselves. So, you shouldn't necessarily feel bad in a sense of like you changing yourself to please other people. And also, like, this can low-key create this mentality of hopelessness, right? Because like I said, being resilient is to, even though you got beat down, you can take the worst L ever. But to me, it's what you do with that afterwards. Like, what are you gonna do now? Like, I've had my entire life stripped from me before my awakening. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I had my own car, I had my own place, I had a nice job that paid me well, but it was all rooted in like very ego things. Like, the foundation of it wasn't where I wanted to be with myself. Like, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I was drained. I was extremely drained. And I had been told so many times, as long as you have these materialistic things, like, you're up. Like, yeah, you're living a good life. Man, I got all that shit, y'all, and I kid you not. I was not satisfied. I was so mad. I was not satisfied. I wasn't satisfied at all, yo. And also, like, side note, whenever you're like going through these shadows of self, I want you to keep like reminding yourself to like that just because like it's uncomfortable doesn't mean like it's necessarily a bad thing. Because I feel like a lot of people are very prone to like start to freak out or to like get in that survivor mode whenever they're uncomfortable of the unknown because they're used to controlling shit. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you're uncomfortable, I love to remind people you're only uncomfortable because you're new to the awareness of it. You're new to it. Like, this is something new for you. And whenever you do get uncomfortable like that, reaffirm yourself that, well, that means that I'm not in the same place that I was. I'm not doing the same things that I was doing before. I'm not in the same cycles, the same loops that I was in previously. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something exciting to look at. That's something that you can low-key be grateful for, because there's a lot of people that's in these constant cycles and loops and they're comfortable. They're mad comfortable, and it's not even in alignment with their highest and all good. Okay? So let's go on to the next one. Now, for this page, I try to like make it like I try not to put too much on here so you guys can actually like read it for real. But understanding the structure of reality is also extremely important, because when you understand what's going on, what's taking place, you kind of know how to move throughout life. And I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. Every single person on this earth, even beyond the earth, this is low key, like universal low key. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Every single person is operating or responding to life, making choices and decisions based on the level they are within themselves, right? Everything is a reflection of you, just like how the body will send pain receptors to you to get your attention. Same thing with life and your experiences. Now, I also want to mention that if you understand that everybody is operating from a level of where they are internally within themselves, you quite literally cannot take things personal. Like, I really need y'all to hear me when I say this. You literally can't take anything personal. because this is truth. Like me, even for myself, where I'm at right now, I'm able to say all these things because this is where I'm at within myself. You know what I'm saying? So based off like the ego, people have insecurities, attachments, fears, lack mindset, limited beliefs. When people start to like project that onto you, I want you to remind yourself that that is where they are at within themselves, regardless of what kind of convincing they're trying to throw onto you. Know that it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with themselves. Okay. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. When you have insecurities and attachments, fears, limiting beliefs, it does open you up to energies that will want to weight you down. But understand that just because you have these things, because it is a part of the ego, it's a part of the experience, it's not to, look down upon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not to be looked at as if it's this horrible thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the ego is meant to help us learn. You know what I'm saying? It's hope is meant to teach you something. And literally everything we know, every single thing we know, as far as you having insecurities, attachments, limiting beliefs, that was all something we instinctually internalized as children because that's literally our natural way of learning. That's literally our natural way of learning. So the ego is not something to be looked at as if it's this horrible thing. It's literally your way of learning. Like literally. That's how you learn. That's literally how you learn, right? Now, let me see what I have next. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, to take anything personal is to literally create an illusion or an attachment that you aren't accepting an aspect of your shadow. And like, think about it. Truly think about it. If you're taking something personal, that means you're resonating with that energy. Because guess what? If you wasn't resonating with it, y'all know how people be saying that little saying where they like take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you're resonating with something that somebody else is saying, that's because they're triggering a shadow aspect of you. You know what I'm saying? They're literally triggering something that you quite aren't fully seeing. Like you ain't fully seeing it for what it truly is, right? And if it didn't resonate, why are you taking it personally? You know what I'm saying? That's just my thing. Like some people be mad, and I just be scratching my head sometimes because I be like, well, if that really wasn't, if that's like, okay, let me give y'all an example. Let's say I'm at work, right? And let's say, actually, this is a kind of low-key a true experience because when I'm at work, people will be projecting onto me. They be trying to get me to people please, and I be telling them straight up, like, everybody is not like you, and I'm not doing what you want me to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like respectfully, like people will literally try to like project onto me as if I'm this quote unquote person and they literally don't know me. How are you coming up with these assumptions and you don't know me? You just met me 1 second ago. How are you possibly saying, oh, you're not friendly, or oh, you don't want to be here, or you're not happy? Like they love trying to tell me I'm not happy because I'm not I'm not fucking smiling, and I'm not trying to please them with this whole thing about customer service and, oh, you got to smile but if I don't have the energy to smile, I'm not going to smile. That don't mean I'm not fucking, happy. It don't mean I'm upset or anything. I just don't got the energy to put on a fucking mask. Like, simple. Like, people will literally do that to you. But like, for me personally, I ignore them. I will literally ignore them. I will literally look at them dead in their face and I will say nothing to them. Like, that's you, baby. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? And like, honestly, like I said, if something is triggering you, it's to literally gain your attention. Just like when your body is like showing you pain receptors. Like when your body is sending you pain receptors, it's trying to get your attention. It's like, hey, you've been ignoring me for quite some time. And, I had to, do something in your reality just so you can pay attention to me. Like that's literally what pain receptors do. That's literally what, quote unquote, negative experiences in our life do. That's like when you get your heart broke, you got to ask yourself, okay, well, hold on. I got my heart broke, but how in the hell was I open to that? How did I get open to somebody breaking my heart? I had to literally betray myself in a way where I didn't have boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be real honest about yourself, like really truly honest about yourself. And when people have like ill opinions towards you, it's only revealing an aspect of them that low-key resonates with your truth. You know what I'm saying? With your love, your kindness, that they aren't bodying within. So like people, for like I said about me at work, and if I don't have the energy to like be all goofy and all smiley, and you know what I'm saying, I will literally like I show that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not all like hee ha. Like no, I'm not gonna waste my energy if I don't have it. That just lets me know that these people oftenly they people please a lot, and that's why I don't be taking it personal. Because if you trying to get me to people please, that just lets me know that that's only a mirror reflection of you. Like you probably go around trying to please everybody, but just because you do that don't mean I gotta do that. You know. So like, also when people try to project onto you, literally take that as a chance to respond how you want to live your life, not how they want you to live your life. Because at the end of the day, your choice is your birthright. Can't nobody tell you what the fuck you can and can't do unless you let them, okay? Let's go to the next slide. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, so some key points that I kind of want to talk about is when it comes to the ego like literally represents internalization. And to me, like I said, the ego is meant to teach us. It's meant to teach you how and why you're standing up for what's right. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with your soul, with your spirit. That kind of what represents the observation part. And that's to literally teach you why you're literally standing up for love, why you want to choose what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times people don't understand the reason why, we're able to get out of like dark times is because we choose that. We literally, okay, I learned that lesson, but I don't think that's all that I have to go through. I don't think that's the only thing that I have to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I want what's best for me, like truly. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's your soul speaking. That's literally your higher self speaking through you. Like, yeah, you do deserve what's best. You know what I'm saying? And I have wrote down a quote on here. Let me see if I can go back to it. 1 second. Yeah, I literally have on here that the ego wants you to settle, but the higher self wants you to reach for the stars of what you truly deserve. So the ego is going to teach you like, hey, if you settle for this, then, that's all you going to get. But the soul, your spirit going to be like, nah, baby, you deserve the world. You deserve everything. You know what I'm saying? And some people, like, it's that yin yang at the end of the day. But some people, they go through hard times and they just stop there. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really have that resilience within them to like push themselves to get back up. And a lot of people low-key like also be confused as to why they go through hardships and challenges. Because I've heard a lot of people say, well, why is God punishing me? And why am I going through this? Like, I'm such a beautiful soul. Like, why do I have to go through this? You know what I'm saying? The reason why you go through the opposite of your nature is to literally understand why you are fighting for what's right. And I don't even want to say like fighting, like why you're standing up for what's right. Because it's one thing for you to like be in that in your knowing, But what happens when you meet somebody that's not in that knowing and y'all start clashing? You know what I'm saying? What happens when you have conflict? What happens when, everything ain't always looking like peaches and creams and rainbows? You know what I'm saying? What happens? What are you going to do? Are you going to be even more firm in your knowing, or are you going to let somebody tell you something that you know ain't truly resonating with you for real? You know what I'm saying? And like for me, if you went throughout your whole life being told you having emotions is wrong, you being authentically yourself, you being empathic, graceful, a truth speaker, you being honest regardless of the circumstance, if you went through people telling you your whole life, yeah, that ain't right, you shouldn't be acting like that. Like that's not something that, that's not the real world. They love saying that. They love, man, people love trying to say, well, that's not how the real world operates. I want y'all, when people do stuff like that, I want you to question it. Question it and ask yourself, okay, well, this person is clearly operating from their ego. What can I learn from that? What can I learn from that? And like, honestly, every time, like, anytime I like go through like in my reality, anytime I meet somebody that's operating from their ego, it just reminds me of, the negative, alien agenda. Because for one thing, they always trying to keep us out of our knowing. Have y'all noticed that? They are always trying to play on our fears, our insecurities, limiting beliefs. You know what I'm saying? They always trying to do some weirdo, some weirdo behavior. Y'all ever notice how they will try anything to trick you, to literally trick you out of your knowing? Why is that? Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Let's really question these things. And it's like, for me, if somebody is purposely going out their way to trick you out your knowing, what can that really tell you? Like, on a surface level, it could be like, well, maybe that person just don't like me, or maybe that person thinks that I'm not enough. But deep down, that person low-key find you so inspiring, so powerful, that they literally resent you for it. They will resent you for being in your knowing because they're not in theirs. These people will literally get mad at you because you're standing up for yourself. Because in every single experience they had in their life, they never stood up for themselves. And I personally went through this with my own family, bro. My own family, they never stood up for themselves. They never stood up for what was right. And the minute I started doing that for myself, oh, now I'm the boogeyman. I'm the villain. So it's like, yeah, like, ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself why. And like, once again, if you see somebody operating from their ego, for example, like your parents or just strangers, like I said, like even at work with strangers, it can be anything, right? What can they teach you? What can they truly teach you, right? And be mindful that the ego can be extremely consuming, right? Because the ego is all about internalizing things, which, is our nature at first. But eventually, you'll get to this point in your life where you're like, I'm kind of done consuming all of these limiting beliefs. I'm kind of done with these attachments. I'm kind of over these fears. I'm kind of over it. Like, what can I do to open myself up to higher perspectives? And this is literally exactly when you kind of start sparking awakenings in your life. This is exactly when you start tapping into the higher nature of who you are. Like, seriously, your soul. This is when you start tapping into your soul. And another thing, people will be so set on trying to tell you who they think you are. But once again, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Literally, if they're operating from their ego, take that as an opportunity to learn from them. If you have somebody like myself, respectfully, or anybody else, that's in here that operates from their soul, their spirit, then you can listen to them because it comes from a place of knowing. You know, it comes from a place of truth, of unconditional love. That is God. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. If they're not operating from authenticity, if they're not operating from unconditional love, if they're not operating from divine truth, that is not somebody you want to be listening to, respectfully. Respectfully, okay? So, once again, there's nothing wrong, or I don't want to put out this energy that the ego is bad, but it's literally how we learn. It's literally our natural way of learning. Take it as a chance to understand yourself better. And we can go on to the next slide. And this is the last thing. And honestly, a lot of people have this narrative that, hold on. People have this narrative that validation is like outside of us. But I want to tell y'all, and I really want y'all to listen to me when I say this. On some real shit, you are the validation. Your existence, your essence, your soul, your consciousness, and your connection to the divine is the validation. You being able to receive divine knowledge, divine wisdom downloads, you being able to receive creative ideals. So, like, whatever your soul loves to create, whether it's music, art, I don't care what it is, that is your way of like literally exercising the validation through your soul, or from your soul, I should say. Like, that is literally, how can I say this in a better way? I could have sworn I wrote this down too. Like, let me go back to it. Oh, yeah, here it is. When you receive like creative ideals, like I said, like music, art, whenever you're receiving downloads and like divine wisdom, like all of that stuff, that is literally your way of like expressing that validation. That's literally you literally expressing and allowing source of divine to flow through you. That is your validation. I kid you not. The fact that you're here right now, you're existing, that is your validation. A lot of people be thinking like, oh, I have to get opinions from others to see if, this is nice or if that's good enough. No, the fact that you were able to create that is the validation. That's the thing about creation. That is the validation. That's all you need. The fact that you were even able to create that music coming from your soul, that's the validation. That's the validation, okay? Another thing, if God is for you, who can be against you? So for all my people that kind of struggle with that solar plexus energy, with that unwavering faith energy, if they going against you and you know for a fact that you're rooted in truth, you're rooted in authenticity, you're rooted in unconditional love, if they're going against you, they're literally going against God. If they want to go against God, listen, that is not your problem, okay? You know who you are. You have that knowing for a reason. Do not let people try to convince you out of that, because they love to get real tricky by manipulating and gaslighting us into thinking that, well, they're saying such and such, but once again, what people say is the reflection of them, not you. So you can't take what somebody say about you personally, because it don't have nothing to do with you. Okay? So nobody can be against you. With that understanding, you literally have to acknowledge the fact that your connection to your higher self and God is the utmost important relationship. Like, it's the most important relationship. And when you get in tune with that, you just naturally start aligning relationships that reflect that. You know what I'm saying? Because as within, as without. Okay? And lastly, I'm going to say this and I believe it. Source is your original parent. Source will always show you what, how can I say this? Hold on. Source, I'm going to just say exactly how I have it on here. Source will always show you that you never needed something physical, like physical as in like our parents, relationships in order to receive spiritual truth. And the reason why I put this is because there's also this narrative that we need our parents to show us like how to love ourselves. And hear me out when I say this. Hear me out. Hear me out. Because there's the duality to this. Like I said in like that, well, I don't know what page it was, but I was talking about how in order for you to understand like the reason why you're standing up for love, for what's right, you have to kind of go through the opposite of that. You kind of have to like go through, you know, certain traumas, or you have to go through certain negative experiences that show you why you really should be firm in who you are. And like for me personally, I used to resent my parents a lot because I wasn't, first of all, daddy wasn't there. Daddy's much so alive. Daddy was definitely not there. Mother was there, but mother definitely was emotionally unavailable, extremely manipulative on a verbal level, emotional level. And then mother would put men before our kids. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a lot of this. All the stuff that you see now, I didn't have that. I didn't get that. But you know what I learned? I learned that even though we quote unquote didn't receive a lot from our parents, if you really deep down and think about it, when you really honestly think about it, your experiences, your personal experiences is still teaching you that. It's still your parent. Like it's literally like your personal parent, even though we quote unquote have physical parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, your human experience, who created this? Who created this whole thing? Because y'all know this is a dream, right? Y'all know who created this dream? Source. So with that being said, if Source created this dream and if Source is creating these experiences for us, then that means Source is still teaching us the things that we didn't necessarily receive, but it's still teaching us the duality of it, where you can still find power in not receiving quote unquote love from your parents. Like you can still low key receive power from that. Like I really hope y'all hear me when I say that. Like I don't know if that makes sense for y'all, but I seriously hope y'all hear me. But let me see. Do I have anything else? Okay, no, I don't. So once again, I really appreciate y'all being here with me, y'all opening yourselves up to receiving this divine knowledge. Okay. And if y'all do want to follow me, here are my socials. I also made an episode on my podcast where I'm kind of like talking about the arts of self and like how to master it. And you can also like find me on TikTok. I'll be on TikTok with it too, okay? Like go check out my Instagram. Now I'm not gonna hold y'all. I just made that Instagram account. So, you know, I ain't got nothing on there right now, but I do plan on, you know, posting, you know, content on there. So definitely check me out, follow me, whatever y'all want to do. But yeah, guys, let me X out of this. Let me X out of this so I can go to y'all comments. I can't see comments this whole time.